Now to a story about a home in Lyneham which has been in the family for 3 generations. Joan Barrett raised 4 kids there, including twin girls, and her grandchildren have continued the connection to the house and to the neighbourhood. But now, sadly, Joan has died, and her family want to secure the house for the future. Trouble is, it doesn't belong to them. Despite their emotional investment, the property is owned by ACT Housing. The family is in a position to buy the house at its market value, but it's not that simple. Jessica Swan reports.
I want them to be able to come here and swing on the tree we used to swing on out the front, play in the backyard, play in the same backyard and just feel the love, the presence of love that's been here for so many years.
I think Christmases in this tiny little lounge room of Mum's, we'd have the Christmas tree and we'd just be full of happiness. It was just, we've got so many happy memories.
Boxing Day we used to have a big party and Dad would just cook his goulash, and Dad passed away 11 years ago, and I promised him that I would continue that family trait of him cooking his goulash and inviting all the neighbours and friends around.
This much-loved home in Lyneham tells the stories of a happy family. Babies Lacey and Mia are the 4th generation to feel the love.
Mum and Dad moved in here on the 21st of June 1959. Dad was transferred up from Melbourne with his job. They've lived here ever since. Dad passed away in 2000 and Mum remained in the house. They raised 4 children in this house. It came up to 10 grandchildren. 2 great-grandchildren have gone through this house, and they just love the community. After Dad retired, he was involved with Neighbourhood Watch, and the poor grandkids, my children, came up here after school, so they were the ones that got to fold all the Neighbourhood Watch pamphlets with my dad, their grandfather, and walk around the streets and drop everything off. They were involved in Meals on Wheels. Mum and Dad volunteered there and did many years of dropping off the Meals on Wheels to all the people in Ainslie. That was the area that they worked in. Dad did lots of fundraising after the primary school burnt down.
Despite their long and continuing relationship with the neighbourhood, the house itself doesn't belong to the family. It's government housing, and it was rented to Tom and Joan Barrett on the 21st of June 1959. Joan continued living in the house after Tom's death 12 years ago, and sadly earlier this month she passed away. But the family don't want to lose the house that's been a loving home for over 5 decades.
I spoke to someone at housing and I was told the circumstances, how my mother has just passed away. She was a tenant of this house since 1959, and I was just told a blatant no. And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, the tenant has to buy it. He said, so that if the tenant can buy it, she can. That person has to have a minimum of 50% ownership in the house. So if you want to go ahead, you can. And I said, yeah, but my mother's passed away. He said, no, you can't buy it.
Have you asked for any discount on purchasing the house?
No, we understand that it's market value and we're happy to pay market value price.
So the family now want to purchase the home. Who is it in the family who's going to be buying it?
It's my oldest son, Jack, and my daughter, Chloe, and our brother. He wants to purchase, but it'll be my 2 children that would be living here. We're all in limbo at the moment. My sister and I have been coming here every day thinking we should pack up, but we just haven't done it.
Well, we have to get everything out of all of Mum's belongings out of the house. We've been told how we have to have a final inspection. It has to be squeaky clean, and they haven't given us a time frame as yet.
Housing ACT is looking to have those keys back to the property and to make an assessment whether the property is suitable for putting back onto our allocation list for another family to move in, or there may be a decision that the property is surplus and we could decide to sell the property.
If someone has been living in the home for 3 years, they may be in a position to be able to purchase that property, so why not after 50 years?
We have 2 opportunities for tenants to purchase into the properties, either through a shared equity scheme or through a sale to tenant scheme. Now, both of those is to support the tenant into home ownership. It's to support tenants who have come in on need, because our stock is for those in most needs. So it's support those tenants as their opportunities and their life circumstances change to move from public housing into home ownership. That's the aim of those two schemes.
But the tenant has passed away in this circumstance, so to what extent is this an administration issue?
Well, I think this is a clear issue of managing our stock. The sale to tenant scheme is available for our tenants. Now, we are yet to assess the property. We are yet to go into that property and make an assessment whether we will keep it for other Canberrans in need or whether we will put it out for sale. We are yet to make that determination.
When will that be made?
Well, we'll need to have access to the property, so when the keys are returned, we'll be able to go in and make those assessments.
Minister Birch, is there any room for compassion in this case?
I'm happy to talk with the family. I'm happy to see what we can do, but at the end of the day, it will be for other Canberrans to use as they are needed to be used, or we'll put it out for sale. And if we put it out for sale, certainly the family will be advised of that.
Where will the money from the purchase of this property, if that is the eventual outcome here, where will the money go?
All monies received through sale of stock goes back in. It is reinvested into our social housing stock, because we know with nearly 2,000 Canberrans on our list, there is certainly a need out there for us to respond to. Whilst I understand, absolutely sympathise with the families and the emotions that they're going through at the moment, it is important to us to recognise the other Canberrans that are in need as well.
Obviously we're not the tenants, but it's been in the family for over 50 years. Surely there is a clause that can say we can buy the home. If it can be done after living in the house for 3 years, why can't it be done now?
And I understand there's lots of, because I know people that are on the list, I said, but just a little bit of compassion when someone's been in their house for that length of time.
Jessica Swan with that report.